Overthinkers. My name is Courtney and welcome to the Overthinker Guide. So in today's video, we're going to be going over a travel checklist. So this is what we're going to be going through before you go on your trip. It's a little bit different from a packing list, but it's making sure all of your things are in order before you leave. We're going to go through 30 days, 14 days, 7 days, and 2 to 1 day before your trip. Actually, as I'm filming this, it's 30 days before my cruise, so I thought it was perfect to film this now so I can go through the checklist with y'all. For 30 days, we're going to confirm that we have airport parking bought and paid for and scheduled. If you are not using an airport, make sure you have your rental car booked, or if you're driving your own car, make sure you are doing car maintenance, everything's up to date, like getting air in the tires rotated, oil changed, all of that. Get that out the way. And then just going back to the rental car, maybe you're not driving the whole way, maybe you're not driving until you get to your destination. So again, just confirming your rental car. Make sure you have any special needs or services confirmed. So for instance, my mom needs wheelchair assistance at the airport, so I made sure that was confirmed. We technically confirmed it for our flight tickets, but we bought our flight tickets so long ago that I forgot. So I just want to make sure that that's been done. That can also go for any allergies, or again, any special accommodations that need to be made. Just if you hadn't done that already, make sure you do it now. Some places will say let them know 90 days ahead of time, but double check that. If you have pets, make sure your pet boarding is scheduled or paid for. Depends, of course, on your border. Start gathering your packing list. I do have a basics packing list that I'll link down below. So just start gathering your packing list, and if you are noticing you don't have certain items on that list, start buying them. If it requires something that needs to be shipped, if you're doing it 30 days ahead of time, you're making sure you have enough time for it to get to you. And then speaking of packing and buying things, start getting your outfits together. This might be me doing too much, but I like to plan out my outfits ahead of time just so I know what I'm wearing, how I'm going to wear it, so I'm not finagling about it and overpacking clothes. So have those outfits in mind. Look up if there's any theme nights of where you're going. If you're going for a special occasion, make sure you have your outfit for that occasion. Have things prepared for a beach day or a pool day, for hiking. My dog is making noise in the back. Things like that for any type of activity that's happening on your trip. And again, if you don't have the clothes that you need, go ahead and buy them. Moving on to, again, more maintenance. If you're like me and you tend to want to get your hair done, get all cute before your trip, make sure you have your hair appointment, barbershop appointment, nail appointment, lashes, eyebrows, waxing, whatever appointments that you like to make to get all ready for your trip. Make sure you get those scheduled. Hopefully this might be me overthinking and overplanning. Hopefully they're scheduled before 30 days, but if you do schedule it to 30 days, we have enough time. Alright, so now moving away from maintenance, and we're still in 30 days. Make sure if you are going out of the country or overseas that you have some type of international plan set up. So for instance, the phone company I use, it has a travel pass option, which will turn on for the days that I actually use it. So on my cruise I went on last year, we had 3 days in port, so I only used it for those 3 days, and it charged me however much. But on the days I don't use it, I don't get charged. And you can set it for the length of your trip, depending on your phone company. So definitely get that set up ahead of time. Know the cost of that, so just know on your next phone bill you'll see some extra costs there if you do get the international plan, if you don't already have one set up with your phone. Okay, and last, for 30 days, make sure if you're working that you have a backup for work or someone to cover your shifts. If you work in corporate, make sure that whoever your backup is prepped for any meetings that are coming up, or reschedule those meetings. So now we're going to move on to 14 days before, 2 weeks before your trip. If it is that season, make sure you have your flu shots or vaccines prepared. According to the CDC, they do suggest that you get your flu shot 2 weeks before your vacation, so because it takes 2 weeks for it to grow immunity or something. I'll put the definition here. And on that note, make sure you have any prescriptions filled that you need, and then make sure you have enough for your trip. And I would say enough for after your trip also, just in case something happens and you have to stay longer for whatever reason. We hope that doesn't happen, but it's better to be prepared. Another thing of potentially overthinking, but I like to pre-pack around this time because I want to make sure everything can fit in my suitcase, and I have like a packing method. Not saying that everything stays in there, but I just want to make sure everything fits, so that way I'm not scrambling at the last second having to buy a new suitcase that's going to fit my stuff or having to take stuff out. So I like to pre-pack ahead of time or set aside things to pack, like underwear, socks, or things I know I'm not going to be using before the trip. And then another thing I would suggest, and I think this really just depends on, one, how much mail you get, and two, how long your trip is, but pause your mail. Especially if you're going to be gone for a week or two, or really a week, you may not have to pause it, but if you're going to be gone for 2 weeks or more, I would definitely pause your mail. USPS actually allows you to pause your mail up to 30 days before, so that is the end of the 2-week or 14-day checklist. To the 7-day checklist 1 week before the trip. So I would actually start checking the weather at this point using the 10-day forecast, because that'll let you know if you need to bring an umbrella, a jacket. I would still bring an umbrella jacket anyway, but definitely start checking the weather. But just keep in mind, sometimes it can change, because I remember for Chicago, I was checking the weather and it kept saying it was going to rain the day we got there. And it didn't rain the day we got there. It rained the day after. But just keep checking the weather. So 1 week out also, I would suggest cleaning your place. You still have a whole week that you're living in it, but just, do a deeper clean, maybe the weekend before you leave. That way, when it gets closer and you might have to tidy up a little bit again, you don't have to clean as much. I would include cleaning with, obviously, cleaning your dishes, doing laundry, your bed sheets, all of that, because it's always nice to come back to a clean house and a clean bed and you don't have to do anything. Also, 7 days before, I would suggest, and you can probably do it a little closer to before you leave. It doesn't have to be a week out. But I would suggest buying some non-perishable or frozen foods, so that way you're not having to grocery shop when you get back, or you don't have to immediately grocery shop when you get back. You'll already have food that you can cook or heat up when you get back, so you don't have to worry about ordering out and things like that, because you probably just spent a lot of money on your vacation. And also with buying your groceries, this includes dog food as well. So if you might be getting low on your dog, sorry, I say dog food because I have a dog, but pet food as well. So if you're noticing your pet food is getting low, I would go ahead and maybe get that ahead of time also, so you don't run out of it when you come back. Again, this is more so just kind of saving you money that you have to pay when you get back. If you don't want to grocery shop before the trip, maybe consider having a grocery delivery or a meal kit delivery going to your house when you get back. So maybe the day after you come back. So that way, again, if you don't feel like getting up to go grocery shopping, you have something already on the way that you'll be able to cook. And lastly, on the 7 days before, and again, this could actually vary depending on when things are due, I would suggest paying any bills that are due before, during, and right after your trip. So again, this is just so if you forgot about it because you've been on this amazing trip, you're still kind of in vacation mode, you've already paid it, so you're not stressing about having to pay it when you get back. Alright, so now we're at 2 to 1 day before the trip. So this list is a little bit longer than the others, but clean the house again if you need to. This is the time to take out your trash also. And depending on how you're doing it, I would actually suggest taking out the trash the morning of or the day of, so all the trash is out, you're not collecting any more trash. Next on the list, double check your packing list and start packing. And again, if you have packed your stuff and you still realize that you're missing something on the packing list, go ahead and buy that. Go to the store. If you need to buy travel sized items, go ahead and buy those, or travel sized containers to put your liquids in. Buy that. You may have already done this, but I would say it's also a time to notify a neighbor that you trust, a family friend, family member, anyone that you trust to kind of look after your house. Let them know that you're going to be on away for a while. Or this is also, I think, the time to share your itinerary with them. I mentioned this in the travel safety video. And about 2 to 1 day before your trip, again, I would suggest printing out your confirmations, so hotel confirmations, flight, boarding pass. And you don't have to do this. You can screenshot it. Just have a backup of something, because I feel like anything can happen with technology. So I feel like it's better to have it printed out so you have proof of these things. So again, that's hotel confirmation, boarding pass for your flight, train, bus, what have you, activity tickets, any type of travel insurance, any confirmations, definitely have those printed out. Make a photocopy of your passport if you have one, and your ID. My mom taught me this, and so what we did was we put it on the scanner and copy the passport and ID and put those paper copies in each of our bags. So that's just in case something goes missing or something happens with our ID or passport, we have it in those bags, so that we can easily recover things. Next, on 2 to 1 day before your trip, take out cash. This is more so if you want to, pay with cash, or you're using this for tips, so taking out smaller bills. Or for currency exchange as well. Go ahead and do that 2 to 1 day before. Or if you're going to do it at the airport, which is usually more expensive there, of course you can do it the day of your trip. If you're flying, make sure to check into your flight 24 hours before. Some airlines, the earlier you check in, the better your zone is. So definitely check in as soon as it opens up, 24 hours before your flight. If you're driving somewhere and instead of flying, make sure you have gas and you have your tank filled up. Alright, so now moving to electronics, make sure you have all of your electronics charged and ready, your portable chargers charged and ready. If you want to watch any particular TV shows or movies or listen to certain songs, podcasts, things like that, make sure you download those items onto your devices, books onto your e-reader, so that they are ready to use on that long plane ride, bus ride, train ride, car ride, what have you. This goes obviously for your kids as well if you have kids. And then also normally 2 to 1 day before your trip, you will be dropping off your pet at sitter or boarder if you have pets. And look at travel safety tips, brush up on your travel safety tips. Check out my video or blog post on travel safety tips. I'll leave those links somewhere here and down below. So that is 2 to 1 day before, and now the day of your trip. This is a little controversial, I feel, for some, but leave a light on. The reason why I think it's controversial is because, well, if someone notices that your light is on 24/7, they'll know that you're not home. You know what I mean? So it's a little strange. You can also, if you have smart light bulbs, you can set timers, so that way it's a little less suspicious. And then turn on your alarm. If you have one, make sure you turn that on for safety. If you are have the ability to turn on from an app. You can turn it on when you leave the house, turn it back on when you pull back up to the house or apartment. So yes, that is my checklist that I'm going to be following. So I've already done the 30-day checklist, and then when it's time for the others, when we get down to them, I will go through those. So what is on your checklist before you leave? Is this doing too much? Again, this is called the Overthinker Guide. I overthink a lot of things. So if you do have things that are on your personal checklist before you leave, let us know in the comments, and maybe we should add it to our checklist. And if you like this video, please leave a like. Consider subscribing if you want to see more videos like this. Our next video will be switching gears, but this will be about for those who don't really cruise often or have never been on a cruise before. So that'll be the next video. But until then, I will see you later, Overthinkers.